Well, the end of the year is here, and with it comes the long-anticipated video where I rank every single tree in Grand Theft Auto 5. Welcome back to the final day of Rankmas. Oh wait, sorry, did I say every tree? No, wait, we haven't hit that goal yet. Instead, we'll be ranking every single Christmas tree. And believe it or not, there's actually 27 of them. First, I'd like to highlight two honorable mentions, with the MOC and the Avenger, which both have lights and tinsel set up within the vehicles. The MOC does quite well with these extra holiday decor, while the Avenger does just a little bit more. So how do we determine what makes a good Christmas tree? Well, I've narrowed it down to these 6 metrics. The size of the tree, the placement of the tree, how logical is it for a tree to be in that space, the appeal of the tree within the space, and any unique features about the tree itself, as well as any bonus points for other winter decor or unique features in the area. Meaning that the worst Christmas tree is the one in the one-story motorcycle club. Being located half in a walkway and standing out amongst the dirty surrounding area, it just doesn't make sense for us to have a tree here, and the placement probably could have been a lot better. As for the 2-story MC Clubhouse, the placement has improved a little bit, though it's still sort of in the walkway, and still stands out amongst this extremely dirty clubhouse vibe. Now, although it makes a lot more sense for a low-end apartment to have a Christmas tree, this placement is absolutely horrid, blocking half a doorway and sticking out in the middle of the living room. Although I did have some leeway here because I'm not really sure where else you could have put this tree where it would have fit better. It's also fairly nice to see that even in an underground bunker we can still get into the festive spirit. Though the location of this tree isn't the worst, the logistics of having a Christmas tree in this bunker and the overall appeal doesn't really strike as strong as some other places in this list. But it did pretty well. On a similar note, the facility falls under the same weak points, though with the cleanliness of the facility, the tree doesn't stand out nearly as much. That being said, you'll probably notice that each and every one of these trees has the exact same model, which doesn't benefit or weaken any of the ratings, but we will see some trees that are different later on. The Christmas tree located within our offices isn't really in the greatest location either. Sure, it's very public and accessible being next to our assistant, though our offices aren't exactly public spaces and this could have been better suited in the living area. Within the updated interiors of the high-end apartments, the trees are located right near the entrance, which is not an ideal place for a tree in an apartment, and it's also not really visible from the living room, so this kind of sucks. Heading to the arena workshop, the tree is definitely located out of the way, and although it doesn't quite fit the appeal or logistical side, it isn't a bad addition to the area. The arcade might make a little bit more sense having these decorations, as it is an open business for the public. Though I think it would benefit more from having some wall decor and some lights along the ceiling rather than an entire fucking Christmas tree on the second foyer. Heading to the Terabyte, you'll notice that this tree doesn't actually have any presents under it, and it's also extremely small. That's right, this is the smallest Christmas tree in the entire game, and although its placement is definitely out of the way, it's not very logical to have a full-size Christmas tree here, so the small size makes sense. It also got some bonus points for the extra lights and tinsel similar to the MOC and Avenger. Moving to the stilt houses, the Christmas tree is located along the wall between the kitchen and the living space, which is a nice open space that doesn't impede the walkway of general traffic, meaning that not only is this a logical property to have a tree, but it's also a very logical placement. Within the penthouse of Eclipse Towers, the tree is also located in the entranceway, but is more visible from the rest of the apartment, which makes it better than the updated high-end apartments. Moving to the yacht, and yes, there's a Christmas tree on our yachts, the placement is okay, kind of being in a walkway, but also being avoidable. And the overall logistics of getting a Christmas tree onto the yacht are questionable, though it was good enough to get into 14th place. I think the office garage would have benefited from having a much larger tree to fill the space. However, this tree doesn't look horribly out of place being next to the couches. It's also out of the way of any place you might be walking. It also makes the whole garage feel just a little bit more festive. We could use more decorations in here though. Now before we move on to a different style of tree within the casino, I wanted to quickly touch on the end of year 100,000 subscriber goal. This deal still stands until midnight on the 31st. However, if that doesn't happen, I'm not going to rank every single tree, ever. That doesn't mean that I won't rank something ridiculous at 100,000 if we hit it next year. Now, that goal might seem nearly impossible. I mean, 60,000 subscribers in less than a day? That's crazy. But it's also important to note that in the last month, we've had nearly 700,000 different people check out my channel, meaning that only a small amount of those people would have to hit subscribe. and that could be you that gets us to that goal. However, I'm okay with not putting in all that effort of ranking every single tree, because that's like a lot of work, so. Within the casino, there are trees made out of upside down diamonds, which fits the theme of the building. Although the one near the cashier is kind of blocking the staircase and feels like it could be bumped down the staircase, causing hazard to the patrons. Within the normal high-end apartment, the tree placement is definitely out of the way and not directly in the entranceway. But given this partial wall between the tree and the living space, it's also definitely not ideal, as you can't see it from anywhere except for little bits of the kitchen. Heading back to the casino, you'll find more of these diamond trees next to the store, the dealer entranceway, and next to the dealers at the very back of the casino. Now I put them in that order because the one in the casino store is not the greatest placement and can impede traffic. The one on the entranceway slightly blocks the sign, but looks better. And the one back at the dealers is out of the way, but really adds some flair to these two dealer tables. Now the mid-range apartment may come as a surprise getting 7th place, but this is because the placement to me is absolutely perfect, being out of the way but also located within the living room where most people would be able to see and interact with the tree. This is also the most common room that people put their Christmas trees in, and we didn't really see it in any of the other apartments. Heading back to the casino once again, the diamond trees aren't the only trees within the building. Heading up to your casino penthouse, there are also 3 trees that you can put up as decorations. The wine bottle tree is definitely unique and scored very well there. However, it is a logistical nightmare to have a whole bunch of large champagne bottles placed within a walkway. But it was good enough to get to 6th place. In 5th place, we have the tree in the nightclub, which is out of the way and located in the office. With the extra boost received due to having all the lights within the office and lounge, it really adds to the holiday spirit and appeal of going into this office in the winter. Now we've traveled there a few times over Rank Miss, but in North Yankton there is a singular Christmas tree in the prologue within the bank. This tree is a different model, which gives it a bit more uniqueness, and although it may not seem very logistical to have a Christmas tree within a bank in a big city, in a small town this is fairly common. With their placement out of the way and adding to the holiday flair of the room, you can also notice that there's other small decorations along the walls, such as Christmas cards and other minor details. Basically being tied for second is the other 2 trees you can put in your casino penthouse. The light up text tree is definitely unique and has a fun flickering design, which gives it a good appeal for a lot of people, and it's also very unique. But it has to compete with the high concept, which is a bit more minimalistic. However, with its spinning motion, it does fit the vibe of the casino penthouse. It's also important to note that the casino penthouse trees can be placed in numerous locations throughout the penthouse, giving them a bit of an extra edge for their location and placement. Plus, who doesn't like a little bit of customizability with their Christmas decor? And the best Christmas tree in all of Grand Theft Auto 5 is obviously the massive Christmas tree in Legion Square, because it's just so perfectly located out of the way and adds so much with all the snow within the city. Thanks again for all your support over the 12 days of Rank Miss and the entire year. If you want to check out the entire miniseries where we ranked heists, hacks, mountains, runways, and more, you can click this playlist right here. And I will see you all in the new year for even more ranking videos. And I mean, we are getting closer to 50K, where I'll have to rank every single road.